Hi everyone. So I'm here doing a special recording with a very dear friend of mine, Marie McCohnell from the United States. Marie and I found each other. It's almost like Marie reached out to me. We've had a very interesting developing friendship and relationship over the last couple of months. And Marie is very, very insightful and rather tuned into other levels as well, which is a part of where I've come from, but brings out the really practical side of me without me losing that sense of my spirit and my heart and my development throughout my life, where I really went looking for what matters internally as well as what matters externally. And she came up with some questions, you might call them channeled, about human design that I thought was so important and practical that I wanted her to ask me the questions and then give her very honest in the moment responses to that. So Marie, I'd like to hand it over to you and welcome and thank you for setting this up.
Oh, well, it is in divine order, and I'm not saying that to be cheeky. It really is. I absolutely love sacred geometry, and I love all of the sciences, the ancient sciences that you teach and that you are a master at. And it kind of all comes together in this beautiful pattern of this is what we're supposed to be doing. Get it? And human design has been fascinating for me. I think it anchored me more than anything that I've ever been privy to be exposed to. And Christopher, I follow your YouTube videos almost religiously. I said, okay, what did he say I'm supposed to be doing? And let me dovetail back onto that. But in the course of our relationship, and I was reaching out to you because I like to reach out to those who reach out to the rest of us. And I wanted to offer, an exchange of meeting of the hearts so that we could get to know one another and be of assistance to you. So since, as you said, I do kind of tap in telepathically to divine heart and mind of the creator, God, divine universe, I was given these questions to give you, and I'm so glad that you decided to take on the challenge because I really want to understand human design, and I don't know any better teacher than you. And I thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the first, we were given, let's see, how many questions? Was it 10?
Yeah, I think 12, maybe. Let me have a look.
Let's see, I only copied
eight.
Eight, and I think the eighth one has some little parts to it, like ABC. Yeah. Okay, so the first question, well, no, I guess it would be more important for us to center ourselves. And if you don't mind doing that, Christopher, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Nice.
Feels good. All right. So coming from the heart and mind of Holy Spirit, who is our loving nanny, I think, divine nanny. She was left here to take care of us, or I say she, pardon that divine feminine slip of mine, but Holy Spirit was left here to take care of us. And the first question about human design, I think, is a really important one, and that is, Christopher Powell, based on everything you know about human design, what makes one person more apt to become a famous inventor and another a king?
That first time I saw that question, I went, but listening to it now with the preparation we've done, the message behind that is each one of us is literally gifted with unique things that we do and a unique way of receiving support to do it, which means we all have a unique contribution to make. And it's one of these, it's quite conservative to think that each individual's life matters, but it's also really true. You know, you can't make people conform to a particular way or your particular way of thinking. What you can do is draw out the very best in them. And when it comes to, say, a king, some people inherit, you know, being a king. It comes down through their lineage. And to be a king, they need to get the best out of what they've got, because they're already titled and socially accepted as a king. If you're an innovator or an inventor, that's something you usually develop yourself. And when the beauty about looking at human design, not just the chart, but how that chart truly expresses itself in a person's life, is it brings out and very clearly identifies not only the gifts that a person has, but how to get the best out of them. In other words, how to operate in the world so the very best of you actually has a chance to come to the surface rather than being conformed. At the same time, we still have to be human beings. We still have to get along with other people, and that's an important skill. And part of really getting along with people is contributing the very best of who you are to their lives. And so it's a real win-win when a person is able to bring out the best of themselves and at the same time realise other people are different, and then we work out how to work together. And again, in human design, there's a huge insight to how to do that, from right initially all the way down to intricate detail. And the other thing I love about it is what I said right at the beginning. Each of us, to bring out the inventor or the king in us, has to be able to do what we're designed to do, because that comes naturally to us, because we're designed to do it, and at the same time receive the support to be able to do it. So we have an ability to give and we have an ability to receive, and both of them working together enables us to give our best, which makes us more valuable to other people, which gives us the incentive to have meaningful relationships.
Shay. I have a question that came up, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
To dovetail on what you said, or to get a deeper quantum level understanding. I know your background is astrology, numerology, and human design, and probably a host of other wonderful tools that you use to understand human beings and who we are. Taking that big picture, what you just said, which is kind of the human understanding or the surface of being here on the planet Earth, and taking it way down into the quantum level, how are we unique based on everything you just said on the intricate quantum level of everything, like the unified field theory, everything being connected?
Sure. Two things you might not know about me is that I've got an honours degree in geology and geophysics. So that's down to earth science. And I've studied physics in a lot of depth in the process of getting there. In fact, the first 2 years at university were mainly chemistry and physics. I've worked in chemical laboratories, and I've also taught teenage girls in Australia and boys, 2 separate schools. So there's 2 things that come out of that. You realise we're all made up of the same stuff, energy, and, all the other quantum stuff to do with it. And every single child that's growing up has unique gifts, needs, and dispositions, right? And so the beauty in this is that we are all connected, even on we're made up of water and hydrogen and oxygen and, all the various things. And you go down to that basic level and it's all energy. And you can go down to the quantum level and it's even more similar. And yet out of that emerges so many unique expressions. Every animal, plant and human being, at least at those levels, is like a unique song.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so as scientific as my upbringing was, there's a certain quality in that goes, whatever it is, maybe it's not a God that looks like us or anything like that, or a divine intelligence, whatever words we want to put on it. Mm-hmm. There is something very conscious and of good intent, right? And profoundly loving and powerful, and yet able to grant incredible freedom, but to give freedom without responsibility makes you either a tyrant or powerless. So they've created this experience that we call life, and within it, they're expressing so many dimensions of what they are and what can be. And from my scientific point of view, this is just a personal opinion, but it seems to me there is a sense of even exploration and discovery, even in whatever the energy that's behind all this, because it keeps coming up with new possibilities, new options, right? So whatever God or whatever people want to call it is, goddess, whatever, or not at all, or just energy, whatever it is, it's certainly not limiting itself, and certainly very curious and interested and open to discovery and exploration. And at the same time, behind everything, and you look at the whole human history with all its tragedy and everything, including our own personal lives, but the one thing we keep coming back to is, what is this thing called love, and how can I discover and express more of it? Mm-hmm. And so out of that, I would say whatever this is that we're all made up of, its motivation is deeper understanding and appreciation and expression of love.
Ashe. Perfect. Thank you. I love that quantum physics stuff. Even from your venue. Okay, well, thank you for that. We greatly appreciate that wise input. And the second question, I was looking at these questions, I was saying, well, there must be a divine flow, otherwise divine spirit wouldn't have given it in this order, but they're all very interesting. So I really appreciate you hanging in there with me. That's what I love about scientists. They're willing to have that same curiosity that the Creator has. So number 2, when we learn our human design, which I've learned mine, is how do we best follow up with incorporating that information into our daily lives? Because that's the tricky part for everything. You learn something, but how do you use it effectively in everything that you do?
Yeah, you need to learn about it.
Okay.
It's just the beginning. Seriously, it's like learning to walk for a child. But to answer your question, experience, and practical application, living it in the real world, be willing to make mistakes, and develop wisdom about it that comes from your own personal experience and from extending that to the experience that you have of the people around you. In other words, you really want to understand your human design, then live your life, mistakes and all, learn from them, and just be open to learning and discovering more. And when it starts to click and your life makes sense, maybe not in the way you thought it would, that's a really clear indicator you're on track. Because, you know, even the most practical person, because it's working for you. If it works for you, well, who cares what the other theory is? If it works for you and then extends beyond you and helps other people as well, I mean, that's just, you know, that's a win. And then it becomes a win-win. So there's no substitute for experience. I know people who have spent decades of their lives studying human design, decades of their lives teaching it. I've spent I've done all the other stuff before I came across human design. I've spent 12 years of my life, you know, studying it, teaching it, consulting with people. That's where the real value for me, because I had to make it make sense to other people as well as myself. And trust me, I've got people who are really practical, you know, unbelievably pragmatic, don't take this Ashante stuff and anything. And at the same time, they'll appreciate you as a person, but don't want to know about that. And then people who are unbelievably spiritual, children, people, my partner is Thai, her children are Thai. We're teaching each other's language. There's no way I can preach or teach human design to them. And sometimes I look at them and go, they know their designs better than I do. And it's those moments when you get in there and live your life, take some risks, stretch, reach out, give it a shot, you know. And when you fall down, you learn so much. And when you get up and you get up successfully, you learn so much. And it's not just grinding through experience and trying to make it fit your idea. It's taking your experience and letting it shape your ideas until the understanding behind the words emerges in a way that not only makes sense to you, but really other people can appreciate. So living it, there's no substitute to living your design and applying it in the real world. I guess that's the sentence I was looking for.
Ashe. Okay, the next question. I have things going on in my mind, but I wanted us to do the questions, and then I'm going to ask you at the end. The next question, number 3, and thank you so much for all of that information, is number 3 is based on everything you have seen manifested in your own life and in the lives of your friends, family, and customers. How would you say that our human design types can harm us and save us at the same time? This is a good one. I like this one.
Yeah. Okay, you've got to know a little bit about the different types. I answered a little bit of that in the previous answer, that if you make it an intellectual exercise or something that's a part of what you do, or you either reject it or you embrace it completely without living it and experiencing it and testing it and making it real, or making it benefit your real life, then that it can become an intellectual, or not even just intellectual, it's sort of, oh, this is the way I live, and I live like everybody else who's in it, and we're a human design club. No, we're human beings. And each one of us is unique, and we need to relate to each other, and we have societies, etc. So all of that's there. But where our type, the type of, every person has a human design, and there are 4 major types. They're the type that get things started. They're called manifestors. They initiate, they get the ball rolling. Where there's nothing happening, they get it happening. Right? They bring it into manifestation. And then there's the generators. They take what these manifestors get rolling and make it work and work on it and work with it. And there, within the generators, there's what they call a manifesting generator who, grabs what the manifestor does, or even takes that and then manifests more and then works with that. And then there's the pure generators like myself. We're like just sources of energy. And you want energy for whatever it is you want to manifest or you are manifesting. Plug in. Now, when you plug in, my role is to put energy into what you're manifesting or into your design, whatever it is, however we link up, connect up and work together. And that can be clearly discovered through human design. Now, along with all that energy and work and things happening, you need people who have the ability to step back and go, okay, how do we get the best out of this, and guide the way the energy is used so it's used most effectively. Mm-hmm. Okay? And they're called projectors, mainly because, I don't know, they push their energy out there when it's needed, when it's asked for, when it's invited in, and show you how to get the best out of what you're doing, because they've got that distance and perspective and incredible insight. I found my stepdaughter was a projector and smart lady, but I mean really smart without having to, I'm smart, just that if you just ask her for something, she will give you some clear information about it. Even if she doesn't know anything, she'll tell you what's right there in front of you that you may be overlooking.
Right.
And it might be you're overlooking, you're saying, good night, everyone, take care of yourself. And she'll say, take care of yourself too, Chris. And it's like, oh, yeah. Me too. Thank you.
Yes.
So that's a projector type. And then there's the mirrors on the wall that just give you a clear reflection of what's going on. Their job, and they're called reflectors, is to just give you a mirror you can look into, or it's not as simplistic as that, but they reflect back to you where you're at, where you're coming from, how you're doing. Now that all makes sense. You want someone to start it up, start things going, come up with new possibilities and get them moving. You want people to put energy into that. You want people to guide it so it's done efficiently and effectively, and you want feedback on how's it going. So that's a very simple way of operating. Now, there's another dimension that tends to get overlooked, and it's all the part in a human design chart. And I'll just give you a very quick look at this in case someone hasn't seen one. There's Marie's chart, and you'll notice there's coloured stuff, and there's white stuff, right? I'll show you mine so you've got an idea of.
Wow.
Mine. There's coloured stuff and there's white stuff. Now forget about all the rest of the detail, because that is the most important detail. Marie, your video's gone off. Is that me or you?
I am not sure. And anyway, I don't know how to make it come back on. My camera's on, so it might be you. We get a chance to see.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. So
Okay.
the white stuff, it's got this reputation as being the stuff that gets you in trouble.
Okay.
You know, where you identify by absorbing other people's energy with who you're not. In other words, you get easily conditioned into being something because the white stuff is open and receptive. You can take in all the energy of the people around you. Does that make sense?
Oh my goodness, does it make sense?
And it's important that everybody realizes they've got that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the ability to take in as much of the world around them as they need to. And that the way I describe it is this is your ability to do what you've got. The coloured stuff is your ability to do what you're designed to do. And the white stuff is your ability to receive the support you need so that you can do it. That makes sense? Everybody needs to receive support to be able to do what they're designed to do. Every car needs petrol or electricity to move as a car. You need food to operate as a human being. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Right.
And
now, taking in, without realizing what you're doing, all the stuff that other people put out there can easily make you believe that your type is the reverse of what your type is. In other words, rather than me being a generator, which is clearly indicated in my chart, if all the white stuff was coloured, I'd be a manifester. And so it's easy for me to pick up everybody else's energy and think that I have to behave like a manifester. And so that's traditionally been in human design the big boogeyman, you know, it's the thing you need to be conscious of. I mean, I've looked at my own life and the effects of that. You know, in the last couple of months, I've probably learned more about my design than in the previous 12 years because that's become crystal clear to me. And so it's easy to get caught up in other people's energy, not learn to be selective about what supports you and let the rest go.
Right, especially.
So learning the skill of letting go of what's not relevant to you and accepting the support that is, that's relevant. It's a very, very important skill. If you don't learn that, all you learn about human design can come to virtually nothing because it's just theory. And the other thing is knowing when to do what you're designed to do. And so the greatest skill to learn is a thing that they label inner authority. Well, it's actually becoming the authority in your own life for making your own decisions on what's appropriate for you. And so the other thing you want is not just to learn your type, but how you're designed to make decisions. Because when you make decisions that work for you, guess what? Your design works for you. When you make decisions in a way that doesn't work for you, your life doesn't work. And you end up, in my case, taking a long time to make decisions on what to manifest, whereas in fact I'm designed to respond in the moment and put energy into what's happening. And how do I distinguish what to put my energy into or not, or what to receive? By understanding and using that inner authority, that ability to make decisions in the way that works for me. So that's how you keep yourself out of trouble, by learning how you make the best decisions in your own interests, but also in other people's interests. And you need it not only about what you do, but even more so on what you let in. Because you have to let in certain stuff because it supports you. But a large amount of stuff you need to let go or let pass you by. It may be good, it may be no good, but it's not relevant to you. Like if you're an Eskimo living in Greenland or in northern Canada, right? Aloe vera and sunburn cream is probably not that relevant.
Right.
You might need it for when you get exposed to the sun, for 24 hours or something like that. But I wouldn't open up an aloe vera franchise in northern Canada. Right?
Exactly.
I'd be, not the right dynamics for creating wealth. Anyway, that's a bit long-winded, but you get the
get it. You know what came to thought, brother friend Christopher, is this. In our cultures, in most cultures, because most cultures have some type of religious base, in the mainstream religions are very much about self-sacrifice. You're only good when you're giving. You're only good when you're conforming. You're only good when you're a part of the whole. Now that has a light side, and then it has another side that's the opposite, in that where there is no light. And my question is it, do we fall out of our human design because of cultural conditioning? To be a good person, I'm a projector, but I'm supposed to wait for an invitation. But my culture is saying, no, get out there, go help people, go save people, drag the little old lady across the street, even as a Girl Scout, even if she doesn't want to go, because you have to be doing something. So can it be that enculturation and that mindset of the collective that pushes us out of our natural flow of the human design?
That has a big influence, but not it. I've seen it manifest two ways. You've got to conform to this culture because, like we've been whatever for 100,000 years, right? Or this is the way we do things in Finland or whatever. I'm just making stuff up. But I've also seen it the other way. Oh, we're all individuals, and so we all have to be individuals. And if you don't allow us to be an individual, you're not one of us.
Okay.
It's embracing your human design means you do have to confront, understand, appreciate, and utilize your uniqueness. However, within a human design, there are parts of our design that are tuned into us as individuals, us as a tribe, and another segment, us as a community or a humanity. So human design has individuality, tribal dynamics and mechanics, and cultural or human dynamics included within it. So within your unique design, you have the ability to do your own thing. You have the ability to work in a group or a tribe or a team, and you have the ability to relate to humanity. So bringing out your individuality brings out those capacities. And for each person, they've got all of them, but for each unique person, some people do tribal stuff or group stuff very well. Some people are very unique in their individuality. But what they do is they take their individuality out to the community, to the group, to the humanity, and they take in humanity and then demonstrate their unique individuality. Other people, their unique individuality is demonstrated by how they contribute to humanity or to the group or the tribe. Mm-hmm. And so this whole thing about our design is not just we're all unique and individual, leave me alone, or, I've got a unique design because then there's I'm going to be stuck all here on my own. No,
okay.
You're not. You've got everything within you as an individual to be part of humanity, to be part of your family, to be part of a team. You've got all that there. So it's even more motivation to get into and understand your design, because it opens up all options. Whether you do it through doing, through actions, or allowing, being receptive, it doesn't matter, because the fact is, while you're alive, you're designed to participate. And I've seen people who are very withdrawn, but until they're dead, they're participating. Mm-hmm. I saw someone today when I was walking along the street. She was sitting on the sidecar of a motorbike, an old lady who's Thai, and looked very, just shut down and in her own world and her daughter or someone was driving her. But I noticed her, it had impact on me, and now you and I are talking about it.
Good
and that's
point.
Reaching out. I don't know how many people will see this, but that person being alive had impact and will have, and it ripples out there. So our lives are not wasted. They're designed to be a contribution, to be a creative expression of that deeper, call it divine if you wanted, or that greater consciousness or being or whatever. But it is when people in Christianity and Buddhism and other religions say, there's a divine purpose behind what we do, or that, God's there. I mean, as you really embrace yourself as a human being, you find within yourself and around yourself the basis for all of that. It's there within you. And you can use it one way or another by opening it up or by contributing through what you do.
Interesting. That's amazing. I hadn't thought about that. It kind of all falls into God don't make no junk and everything's in sync.
God made no junk and everything's in sync.
There you go. We're okay.
We're okay.
Chris, before I go to the next question, I want to do some self-care for you. Do you need to drink some water or anything? Be okay, or stretch?
Yes, boss. I got the water. I just need to drink it.
Okay.
You remind me of Katai, my partner. You two are going to love each other when you meet.
I'm so looking forward to it.
She said, Kiss, you take care. You eat food. I say, I no call you unless I eat food. She goes, number one, you take care. Right?
Good for Katai.
So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say,
all right.
Yes, boss.
All right. Number 4.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Once my human design is confirmed, as it has been, as a projector or you as a generator, is there any way to shift the effects of it on my life? Like the design, do I shift it? Can it change me? And can I change it? And in other words, is my human design set in cosmic stone?
No, because you're going to die.
Right? Yeah.
Right? And, the other bit's like saying, look, Marie, now this might be a bit controversial, and I apologise if I insult anybody, but, can you really bleach your skin and look a little bit more like a white person?
Yeah, but they
It's
do
like,
that.
why would you want to? Or I know plenty of people of my skin colour go out and try and get tanned.
Right.
I mean, I was born in Australia and that's all we ever did. But we still are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if that's not enough to amuse and entertain and inspire and challenge you in your life, I don't know what else you need. Like human design isn't all of who you are.
Right.
It's not your soul. It's not your spirit. It describes how your body operates, but you've got this body. It describes how your mind operates, but you've got this brain and this mind, even beyond the brain. And, it's like getting to know what you gave yourself as a gift when you were born.
Ah.
And then learning how to appreciate it, take care of it, get the best out of it, and give the most from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that question originates from people being caught up in what in human design they describe euphemistically as your not self, which is when you get distracted into picking up all the stuff from other people through the openness and then thinking you've got to be that, rather than realizing the white stuff or the openness is your greatest gift. But when you can receive anything, you've got to have some discrimination about what you let in. Because it didn't say you can receive anything you want. It's like, no, you can receive anything, so you need to have the authority to be the person who decides what's appropriate for you and what isn't. And that makes a big difference to you and your life. You can't just throw everything open and expect things won't get chaotic. They will, and people's lives do. On the other hand, you can't shut down and keep it all exclusive, because you'll never grow, and you'll never add new dimensions to what's possible. But you do need to have an authority within you that says, I can use this. This supports me doing what I'm designed to do. This isn't bad. This is great, but it would support these people much better than me. So I'll let it pass by.
Ah,
and
okay.
it's having that clarity about what you're designed to do, and don't get hooked up in what other people are doing unless it supports you, or don't get hooked up in what else is available unless it supports you. Simple example, over the other side here is a big TV screen, and I've got, 70 or 80 channels on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes you can't even find anything worth watching on 70 or 80 channels.
Exactly the reason I don't have one.
Yeah, so I've quite regularly turned it off. And then you go to YouTube and what's on the internet, and it's unlimited, but even then you have to decide what's going to support you and what's going to waste your time and energy. Well, it's exactly the same. You can switch off your TV, not have one, but you're still receiving everything that's going on around you, and you need to discern what's appropriate. These eyes can take in so much, but it's appropriate that I focus on the screen here because I'm talking to you.
Right.
And I'm talking to whoever's listening to this. I'm not talking to the statue over there or, the chair over there. So I decide to focus here. It's the same thing, because this is supporting me doing what I'm designed to do. And you're focusing on what you're looking at now, because that's supporting you doing what you're going to do next.
Wow, that's really deep, Christopher. That's very deep. I like this. Right there's your answer to life in a nutshell. Those things you said.
Oh, choice and decisions are linked, actually. Choice, if you can't make decisions, what's the point in making a choice? The two things are linked together. And if you make a decision and it's not your choice, what's the point of having the ability to make decisions? So choice is a very, very profound gift that we have. And as human beings, we've got a lot of conscious choice that trees and animals don't have. And so understanding our design and how to make great decisions leads to making much better choices and living a much better life. And using what you've already got, so understanding how you work with the design that you have, is a far better and more practical application than wishing you had something else.
Okay. Ashe. Thank you for that again. All right, I've got all kind of wonderful notes here. This is really helping. All right, number 5.
Okay.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Why do we sometimes, or most times, act and live so differently than our human design would dictate? And I guess that's dovetailing back on what you already said, but for some reason, we need a little bit of a recap here.
Yeah, because, yes, everything that I said before about that, the reason it's happening now more than anything is the biggest step forward we can make now as human beings, even to evolve what we do to new heights, is to learn the art of receiving.
Ah, okay.
With abundance and prosperity and success comes many, many, many more options, which means your art of knowing what to receive and how to receive quality support and what to let go of because that's someone else's business or someone else can do it way better than you. Get out of the way and let them do their thing.
Right.
Receive some time out while they do the job. Receive the time to observe what people are doing so that when you guide them, Marie, you can give them really clear, considered, conscious guidance. When you work with your grandkids and stuff like that, take time out. Don't get exhausted, because there's going to come a moment where those grandkids of yours and those family of yours are going to really turn to you and need you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you being a projector is going to be a lifesaver for them.
Oh my goodness. Where were you 20 years ago? 10 years ago?
About as confused as you were.
I know this has been, everything that you've talked about have been the lessons that I have had to learn with your tutelage, with other really wonderful teachers that are out here, each unique in the area that I needed. But what you're talking about, and if everyone's really paying attention, is the answer. It's the answer to what we call the quest for understanding life. And this, I love human design, and I love the way you teach it. I mean, the art of receiving, there's a big problem with me. I had a real bad time with receiving. I was giving, 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 but not receiving, and it breaks the circle of life. And I had to learn that. So thank you. Oh,
Can I just give you a quick little clue?
okay.
Easiest way for you to start or develop the art of receiving as a projector?
Yes.
Let other people do the work for you.
I never thought of that. I'm learning though. I'm learning.
And when they're doing the work, and, make out like, I've got some insight to that, and then they'll come, I mean, I'll give one other example. As a generator, I have a lot of friends, business partners, and clients who are manifestors. And it's like, after a while, it's like 8% of the world are manifestors and 50% of my associates are manifestors. Someone's trying to get a message across to me.
Exactly.
And it's like, don't go out there and try and make things happen, which I've been doing a lot of my life with, some success, but never really realizing the potential I could truly contribute. Not to brag about, but say I could give more and I would enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just in the last few months, even maybe I've been building up to it, but in the last few months, I'm going, who are the people who are making something happen? Okay, I'm available. You've got something. Now, I've got to make the decision to let it in.
Okay.
It's got to be appropriate for me. But when they do, I'm now just handing over so much. My friend Daryl, who did a lot of the human design course I did with me presenting it, he's a manifester. Now I'm supporting him in his major project to take, mall shopping online, and it's a huge project. And it's like, mate, you've got access to my energy anytime you need it.
Okay.
Right? So plug in and use it. But when you don't need it, fine. And just looking for people who know what they want to make happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're looking for people who've got work to do. Me, right? And now you're guiding me to do the work. And trust me, this is far more efficient. It's more fun for me, and it's bringing out a deeper level of practicality in me than if I was doing it on my own. Because you're guiding me to do my work. I'm putting energy into what people want to manifest, because that's the way it works. Rather than trying to be the manifester, or in your case, trying to do all the work. That's where you really get in, you create problems.
Exhaustion. Extreme exhaustion and dysfunction and a lot of non-focused work. But I can feel the tears of everyone listening to you right now, because it's sort of like, okay, I can do it this way better, because it's exhausting and there's no reason for us to exhaust. Because as you said, everyone is in place to support the other if they're living their true human design and are willing to say yes to it.
Yeah, and you'll attract the people to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at something called Wealth Dynamics today, which I've done some in the past and I'm looking with a client at. And it was about the stages you go through, and when you start attracting the magic, the thing, the clients, the right people to work with, it's exactly what happens. It's exactly what happens. There's a state you get to when you're just enjoying being yourself, where they find you. That's how I met Katai. I was just enjoying myself one day, and the last thing I was doing was, out there trying to create a relationship. right? And but I was enjoying relating, and boom, just that's how it happened. And when I look back at my life, honestly, that's when all the best things have happened.
Ashe.
And there's 70 years of experience behind that. You know, life wasn't meant to be easy, but it wasn't meant to be painful, struggle, difficult. We're actually learning how to get out of that with integrity. And it's taken us many thousands of years, but we're getting there. And along the way, people have clicked on this in their own context, in their own way, and been known as either great masters or people who aren't recorded in history, but they had a wonderful life. And we're seeing how far that can spread. And there's a hell of a lot of distraction because we've still got a lot of old patterns and old habits, but we've never had more potential. And human design is one of the mediums that are coming out, making that crystal clear. You can get a really detailed understanding of what you bring to the table and how to present it so it's appreciated and you enjoy it.
Ashe. You know, when you mentioned, brother friend Christopher, that life was not meant to be easy, what came in almost instantaneously is to shift that not easy to not boring. Because I think as beings, we come here for entertainment, you know? And if it's too boring, well, what was the point to go to the movie in the first place? You
Exactly.
know, Holodeck 52, I programmed in, I wanted to learn how to have a broken leg, survive it, get married, have children, get a divorce. These are all things I wanted to do. Don't be taking me away from my interesting life. So I think that hard is really translated to not boring for the experiencing that you talked about at the beginning. You know, God experiencing, divine experiencing, and us experiencing simultaneously. It's kind of fun, even though it looks tragic when you're in the story. But when you get out, you get out, as you say, you die. That's how you get out of your design. And you look back and say, you know, it wasn't that bad. I think I'll go back and do it this way. So, brother friend, we have two more questions, I think. But before we do that, do you need to get up and stretch and walk a little bit?
Okay, give me a second. I'll do that. I'll take the invitation for sure.
Okay.
It's that's good.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Marie.
You're so welcome, kind sir.
Hold on, I'm just going to touch my toes a bit.
Touch your toes and maybe walk a little bit and stretch out those, what are they, gluteus maximus and all those little wonderful muscles that keep us sitting up straight and not uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I had an accident about 6 or 7 or 8 weeks ago, and I've been working back, did some walking and swimming yesterday and everything, but sitting in the chair, and this is something I've had to come to terms with consulting. And you've probably seen I've been moving around a bit more, and, you know, sitting and getting up here and, and my body keeps saying, look, you know, you've got to pay attention to me and loosen up because, one, it's more fun and it's more comfortable, and also you do better.
Yes, because you're a generator. Generator has to move energy.
Exactly. There you go. Now that's a projector. I mean, you've been doing it the last 5 minutes. I've just been watching. You know, you're coming in with that. Let's fine tune it. It's not easy. We'll make it interesting. So the work comes across a lot more elegantly. Projectors are about elegance.
Definitely. I shaded that. Well, thank you for, I'm saying thank you not as, here being your assistant and bringing out these questions, but it's really, really going deep inside of me, putting out, as you said, projectors do, but I'm linking up all the little pieces that were kind of floating in the fringes there and making sense. I guess we would call it plugging in. I'm beginning to plug in. All right. Well, our next question.
Assistant? No, you're my ally.
With great honor, I take on that role. It's really fun. Number 6. Oh, we've got 3 more. Okay, so number 3. What is the most important thing to consider when attempting, and I say attempting, to live by your human design? The most important thing.
Loosen up and lighten up.
Go with the flow.
Well, yeah, that's part of my design, by the way. You go with the flow is my most conscious talent. And when I don't, it shows. And when I do, it's wonderful. It's one of the things I'm designed to do. But when you're attempting, do it like a child learning to walk. Just put your body and your heart and your soul into it. Don't judge yourself too heavily.
Yeah.
Learn, but and don't try and get it right or left, but particularly don't try and get it right. Get it from every part of the experience. If you're willing to be open, will show you something about your design, even when you completely get off track. You can go, my God, I've got off track. Right? Wow. If you can see that and then just adjust, and it requires compassion and all this, but humor, seeing the dance in it, the flow in it, the humor in it, the vulnerability of being a human being, and yet the unbelievable capacity to come back. I guess it boils down to what people have said for a long time, maintain a positive attitude about it. You are a human being. You're at least conscious of it to some degree. And now you realise you've got a design, which means there's something good about you, something you can take advantage of, something you can leverage, something you can play with. Your life, people would say to me decades ago, does my life have purpose? Well, if you've got a design, you've got a purpose.
And on that note, the number 7 one coming in question is, when all is said and done, how can mastering one's human design energetic signature, so this is the energy of being whatever you are, projector, generator, manifester, generator, or reflector,
right?
How can mastering one's human design's energetic signature or flow make our lives magical or easy, whichever term you prefer?
The energetic signature, well, if you're a manifester, they'd say it's peace.
Oh, okay.
Right? For a generator, it's satisfaction. For a projector, it's success.
I'm going to write that down. Okay.
But the opposite side of that is bitterness, because you're not successful. The generator, satisfaction, it's frustration because you're not satisfied and you can't seem to find it. If you're a manifester, it's anger because you're not at peace. And that can piss you off, that can really get you angry, right? And reflectors, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten, it's just gone out of my head. It's something, it's delight, and whatever the opposite of delight is, right? So the reason that signature, that energetic signature is useful and it's also appropriate, is I can chase peace, but I'm much more satisfied with being satisfied, which in a sense means I'm open to receiving peace. Again, remember, this doesn't work this way for everybody, but in my chart, the white stuff is like a manifestor. So I'm designed to receive peace in a way that satisfies me.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to do peace doesn't quite work, but being around peaceful people or people who really have a deep sense of peace, I mean, not I'm at peace when they're not, but when they really are at peace. Now, my longest teacher, 44 years, travels around the world constantly since he was a boy, telling people about peace.
Wow.
And not only telling them, showing them how to experience it. And I remember the first moment I was in a hall where he was speaking, and I was standing up against the side wall halfway up the hall. And I'm just standing there and I listened to it, couldn't hear it quite clearly, and then something inside of me just went snap. And I went, he's got what I want. And that was the end of it. That was the sale was made, whatever the sale. And, I've 44 years worth of nothing but good times, particularly between me and him. But, the people around, people do what people do. But
right.
In terms of being satisfied, but I needed to receive peace to find satisfaction. So I'm just using that as a personal experience to demonstrate the dynamic. So in your case, when you don't feel you're succeeding,
Mm-hmm.
It irks at you. It's like bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, you feel that this is succeeding and you're just glowing. And this is the state that you're designed to operate most effectively in. Now, you're not going to be there all the time. We all get knocked off our horse or whatever every day. But this is the place to return to. And when you're there, in my case, being brought up a Catholic, I've had to get over the guilt of being satisfied for so long.
Yes.
Right, and I'm not anti-Catholic or anything like that, but I've had to go, am I okay being satisfied for now? It's how long have we been going? An hour and 15, 20 minutes or something? It's like, is it okay? My mind's going, are you doing a good job?
Yeah.
It's like, who cares?
You're having fun. Two cups.
It's having fun. And fun for me is feeling that sense of satisfaction. Fun for you is going, this is good. You could use the word success.
Yes.
My friend Daryl, who's a manifester, when he's at peace, he's golden. You couldn't be around a better person. I mean, seriously, as a friend, I lucked out big time.
Mm-hmm.
As a true, not just a friend, but a true ally. And when he's at peace, you feel like anything can happen. Anything can manifest. And when a reflector is delighted, everybody else knows they're doing something right.
Because they're reflected.
Yeah. And the reflector if they're not feeling delighted, what am I doing with this group of people? It's like, let's see. So you can actually use that as a very practical, down-to-earth guideline as to whether all this stuff we've talked about is actually showing up.
That's and recognizing it, right?
Yeah, and it's crucial when you're on those moments of feeling successful, feeling satisfied, that you consciously, deliberately embrace it and own it. Because the times when you're not, and particularly if you're emotionally defined, you're going to go up and down emotionally in that context. It's so important to own those times as this, because then it gives you a goal that isn't just an intellectual goal. It's something that, particularly if you're emotionally defined, you keep revisiting. You don't have to be there 100% before you're successful. You keep revisiting. In my case, this is the place I want to be if I want to do my best work. In your case, this is the place you want to be if you're going to give the best guidance. And just go back over the recording. You've been doing the guiding so elegantly. And this is human design. This is human beings living their design and getting the best out of it. And knowing about it is so that you can get the best out of it as much as you want to, need to, or can. Okay. Because that's what being alive aims for.
Again, an asterisk and a ... Pay attention to what Brother Frank Christopher just said. That's what it's all about. Yes. What I thought when you were talking about frustration for a projector being successful, it took me a few minutes, well, maybe 60-something years to come up with this understanding. I was looking at the wrong things as markers or indicators of my success. I didn't have to do all the things that I was looking to do based on everyone else's human design. And so I had to be quiet in myself and said, Marie, you don't have to be doing A, B, C, and D, because all you needed to do was A. And let, as you have just said, Brother Friend Christopher, let the rest flow into my particular focus as a projector. So then I went, okay, Marie, you were there. Everyone got the answer to the first question. It didn't matter about all the other questions. The important question was that first one. So then I could breathe and not be as frustrated at my age I'm at now, because I know wherever I am, divine heart and mind is, so it's okay. So I always say, we're talking about getting business cards, and I say, if you think about it, those high level Buddhas and yogis that sit at the top of the mountain, they don't have business cards, and people climb up the mountain, they get to them. So sometimes just stay in your own lane and understand your design when it comes in. No, so you can recognize your success. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes
I'd just like to interrupt there, because you've been flowing right to that point. It's recognize your experience of success, the type of quality. It's like a fine wine. You bring along this special quality that's got this unique taste and this unique spirit within it. And each of us, it's not just standard satisfaction. It's not just standard success. It's like, I'm here to discover how satisfaction feels for me and how it expresses itself through me.
Oh, shame.
And you're here to experience how success feels to you, and then how you can guide people to that through you. But you've got to have the resonance yourself in your own unique form, because when you hold it in your unique form, you give them permission to express it in their unique way. If you've got a fixed definition of success, then they have to conform, and that limits us to our past. And it doesn't enrich the whole thing. And then people can draw from your success bits that really enrich their life, like brings out more satisfaction in me, or in Daryl, brings out a greater sense of peace and a greater sense of I'm doing what I'm manifesting what I'm here to manifest, and the unique quality that I bring, I'm talking for Daryl now, is manifesting, which is going to give people something to work with. And you've been guiding me to bring out just that unique quality in me that is precious, that maybe no one else has, but some other people need that unique quality to bring out the best in them. So, it's sort of like being a chef. It's sort of like creating a new business or raising a child. It's very human. Human design is very human, and it's bringing out the human part, because it's human design. There's, car design and all sorts of other garden design, but this is about human design, how to get the best out of your garden, how to get the best out of the car for what you want it to do, how you get the best out of who you are as a human being, and how you encourage and support the best coming out of the people you love and care for and work with.
That's right. That feels good. It does. And I think in this discussion, I'm beginning to, and I'm sure you are at this point, understanding why Divine Spirit, Holy Spirit gave these questions, because they are so you, but at the same time, they're so you in your expanded version. So I'm learning a lot right now just listening to you. And the last question, and I guess I should leave it to you, how much you answer, and because we're coming up on almost an hour and a half, or how much you leave for the next conversation that you might have. And I think a lot of this is already on YouTube in your teaching videos and your discussions. But number 8 says, many people go through life without knowing their human design type. How can that knowing your design make a difference in how they live? Is ignorance bliss or painful? And all these questions boil down to, who am I? What is my design? Why do I have it? When is it relevant? And how do I turn it from a problem to an assist, or an assist? An asset, sorry.
Yeah.
All of those.
Wow, that's some question.
That's what I said.
Hold on, I'm going to look at it again just to remind myself. Because there's a lot in it.
Yes.
How can knowing your design make a difference? Is ignorance? Look, I live, as I mentioned earlier, with people that I don't have the language skills yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think with my stepdaughter for sure, that's going to happen at some point. And so I've had this experience where no matter what I wanted to, it would have just created confusion. So I've had to let it go. And I discovered 2 things. One, people who don't know about it, but sincerely are good people doing the best to live their lives as human beings, which my partner absolutely excels at, even though she probably wouldn't even, but she does. I admire that so much about her. And you can see where she's getting caught up in not self and stuff like that, because we're influenced by the people around us. But I discovered that people are living their design far more than they know. Or particularly those who are doing their best to be a human being who doesn't buy into bitterness or frustration or anger or whatever the reflector thing is, you know, just feeling like you're a waste. When you don't buy into that, your human design is there and it's operating. And I would many times say to Daryl, sometimes I think Katai lives her design better than I do. You know, and then I realized something about it. When someone consciously understands it, it lifts the game. And then when they consciously live it, whether the other people know the game or not, it lifts, it gives permission subconsciously and unconsciously for the other people to discover it in their own way. So it's not about having to convince everybody and teach them all the stuff. It's enough people giving themselves permission to live their design, and living it gives permission for other people to do the same.
It's amazing.
Right? So those of us who have that understanding and have been given that gift, however it's come to us, when we embrace it for our own personal benefit, which is the only reason you should, you know, initially, you know, to help yourself, otherwise you're just sacrificing yourself for something else. But when you do that and you really live it, even the people who just got into it theoretically made a contribution, you know, because they at least studied it and made it available. But when you live it and you give yourself permission to live your design, that permission flows over to other people. They sense it, they get it, they tune into it. And I've seen that if I look at Katai over the years we've been, 3 or 4 years we've been together so far, it's like she's becoming more herself, because I'm giving her permission to do what she needs to do without us talking about it. I'm just, you know, because there's whole stories I could go to, but trust me, it works. If you're living your design, it helps other people live their design whether they know about it or not. That I can sincerely put my hand up and attest to, right? Because I've seen it happen around me. So whatever you're doing for yourself is benefiting other people. And when you know consciously about your design, I can say it makes a real difference to you and how you live. Being ignorant of it allows more pain to exist than we need.
Oh, okay.
Becoming conscious of it is a way of contributing to the reduction of pain and the acceptance of more enjoyment and joy in life. And the reason it does that is because it answers those questions you're talking about. It gives you a greater and deeper and more practical sense of who am I, right? It doesn't answer everything. It's not because when you die, the design finishes. But it tells you who am I now, here, and what do I bring to the table? And who am I in this human body? And it enables you to relate to your body in a way that the life in you can express itself and the body can cooperate so that that expression comes across clean is the best word. It's just clean. You know, there's integrity is the word I'm looking for. It has integrity. And what is my design? Something worth knowing about and applying and taking advantage of. And why do you have it? So you can take advantage of it and you can enjoy being alive. And when is it relevant? As long as you're alive. And you want to turn up as who you really are, and you want to make a difference, and you want to love, and you want to be loved. That's when it's relevant. And how do you turn it from a problem into an asset? By converting it into something useful to you and others, which is how you convert any problem into an asset. All that dirty goo emerging out of the ground, put it in a car, refine it, put it in a car, and you got an asset. It's carbon dioxide out there. Take the carbon dioxide, put it into a greenhouse, turn it into an asset.
Ah, okay.
You know, learn how to, the whole art of turning problems into assets is the art of living. You know, how do I turn being a little baby that can't walk into an asset? Give it 20 years. Learn. Accept the food. Cry when you need food. That's how you turn to be yourself. You know, human life is a gift. One of my greatest teachers would say, life is a gift. And their way of expressing it was, life is a gift from God, Goddess, all that is. Something greater than us. Life is a gift. Our job is to learn to receive gifts. I never forgot that.
Good one.
Right?
Yeah.
And human design is a gift. Learn to receive it, work with it, enjoy it, do things with it, and support it. And at least, hopefully, in this video, you and I, Marie, have demonstrated that when we do, life's a joy. Life's worth living. And, you know, we've gone through lessons like everyone. We've had our hard times, our tough times, our good times, our whatever. Learning about my design and applying it in the real world and making it personal, not just fitting in with the descriptions, but learning how it works with me and for me. That's added value to my life and to the life of thousands of customers, clients I've dealt with personally one-on-one, people I've taught courses with and whatever. But for me, the greatest pleasure is that one-on-one, bringing out the exceptional in someone else. You know, that is the greatest gift that my clients give me, is when they excel, when they explain human design to me better than I explain it to them, or that they demonstrate it in their life in a way that leaves me struck with awe and applauding. You know, that's when I feel satisfied. It's like, oh my God, you've just done it better than I could even. That, you know, and that's what I'm focusing most of my work now, you know, with a program called Master Design, where I work intensely one-on-one with people. Now, that limits the people I can work with, and I've got to be selective, and we work intensively over 9 months. But now I understand why, because if I can get it through to a few people, it'll spread from them.
That's right.
If I preach to a huge crowd, which friends of mine are brilliant at doing, it lights a spark. But, you know, I'm here to build a fire. So people are attracted from way away because they're coming to the fire. You know, it's my way of reaching beyond myself. So
kind of collective consciousness and quantum entanglement all balled up into one.
Exactly. Spoken like a true spiritual scientist. Oh, beautifully put. Lovely.
Well,
wow.
we've gone through all the questions, so I'm just going to sit here and be quiet and let you pull this beautiful session together in the style that you're so famous for.
Well, in a sense, I just did that. You know, I've told people I do work, and if you want to work with me, contact me, and I'm sure there'll be a way to do that. But to pull this together, I have to honour you, Marie. You've made this. I've been saying to the people close to me that to bring out the best in me because of my design, I have to work with people who are making the best of themselves happen in one way or another. And your care that you've shown to me since the moment I met you, that there was no reason why. You just came and started caring for me and wanting to contact me, and I'm sure the benefits have come. I know they have. But your willingness to guide and to open up to people and to show the best of yourself so that they can show the best of themselves has made this possible. And I truly, from my heart, want to thank you for this opportunity and for the pleasure and the joy that I've had sharing this. I know it's a long tape, but, you know, sometimes when it's something great being shared, when I can shine my light, then maybe it's worth watching, it's worth taking in, it's worth making valuable to you by applying it. And you've made that possible, Marie. So I want to wrap this up by thanking you sincerely for what you've done, and anything I can do to support you in your work, you know that I'm there for you. And if anyone out there I can support you, let me know and let's make a difference. So thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Okay, so see you later.
See you later.